6 reasons why you might not have enough money saved up for the winter.
Speeding on the leash. Yeah, yeah. Oh Lord, way to go. Agents on my phone. We be on the road like we on the boat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right or wrong, I don't even know. All my conscience gone. I don't even know. All my conscience gone.
What's up? It's Keith Kalfas with the Untrapped podcast, and this is like a video version of my podcast. I've wanted to kind of build out this studio thing for a while so I can do this. Hey, I wanted to do this for a while, and I do have a podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Anchor, Spreaker, SoundCloud, every place that you can get a podcast. Just look up Keith Kalfas or the Untrapped podcast. Some I talk, and others I interview awesome entrepreneurs and experts in the industry, and I just believe there's a lot of value in that podcast. If you can relate to me and you watch my videos, you know I just like to get deep and just talk about those things that I don't hear a lot of other people talk about. So one thing that's been just burning inside of me is to get a lot of content out around these specific things. Like, for instance, 6 reasons why you might not have money saved up for the winter. Whatever's going on, they have specific reasons why that they weren't able to get it together, and just kind of like paraphrasing around, you don't have any money saved up for the winter. We're in the green industry. A seasonal business model is like you crush it 8-9 months, and then you have a few months of downtime. And then if you're into the snow plowing business or not, depending on what you do in the winter, you have side hustles. I don't know what it is for you, but I know in my life I've been through many seasons where I was flat broke in the winter, and then it takes you to like June, July before you can actually, and then you go into debt. It's a very stressful cycle, and you can't grow a life like that. So if this is you, this video is definitely for you. I have to time this here. I got my phone on airplane mode because but it'll be worth it. So I'm going to read them real fast, and then I'll go through them one by one. Okay, so number 1 is you didn't decide in advance. Number 2 is you stuck your head in the sand. Number 3 is you took weekends off. Number 4 is you didn't save any money. And number 5 is you refused to learn, to educate yourself and learn marketing and sales. And number 6 is you didn't put your foot down. What does that stuff mean? Okay. When I say you didn't decide in advance, which is number 1, is if you really sit down despite the fears and the frustrations or whatever type of, we call it chaos in the environment that's happening. Okay, so if you know for a fact that the end of the waterfall's coming and you need to build a boat or get out of the river or do something, and you stick your head in the sand with that, no matter what's going on, you know that the winter's coming, even if it's like March, April, if it's May and the birds are chirping and you're working your ass off, the winter is absolutely coming. And this sounds kind of simple, but there's something called a stable datum in neuroscience. When you have a specific belief, whether it's true or false, whether it's rooted in truth with the capital T, or it's false, or it's a complete fiction, your brain and you will start to develop pathologies and neural networks around an idea that becomes a belief, and now you actually start to revolve your life and your psychology around these sets of beliefs, right? Or these doctrines. And this is how your entire life goes, see, I don't want to get too deep into this because this could be like a 20-hour video or a series of videos, but that's why I wanted to do this, so I can have kind of a long-form content and break these things down. So when you decide, Tony Robbins says you don't get your shoulds. Really dry in here. You don't get your shoulds, you only get your musts. When something is a must, there's no other option. Period. You know that the winter's coming. You have to do everything that you have to do to make sure, and you decide in advance that December, January, February, March, April, whatever months it is for you, I have to have X amount, whatever, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars saved up. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to make money in the winter. You can hustle, you can plow snow, you can do all types of things, right? But having that nest egg set aside, and not only for that, but ongoing into your life, the farther you think out and the more you get with the brutal, like, mortifying reality of how serious this shit is, and money is like oxygen, and nobody's going to just give you their oxygen. You're on your own. Like, you're born naked and afraid, you're going to die naked alone. So just decide in advance. Number 2 is you didn't put your foot down when it mattered most. In the moments when you have people in your life, it could be family members, employees, friends, and whatever they're doing that's consuming your time, and obviously you got to spend time with family and friends and do all those things. But if you don't have an order and priority of what needs to get done so you can get to that point, whatever that point is, everything will just pull you down like this primordial soup. There will be no structure, there will be no boundary, and everything will just pull you down, and the winter will come and you'll be broke. So it literally is like, nope, we're only staying out till this time because I have to go home and do these things. I gotta be up. I gotta hustle. I gotta close this job. I gotta do these sales. I gotta, whatever it is, I have to make sure that this works, and I'm a robot, and I will do whatever it takes to make sure that this is what happens. And if anybody doesn't like it, too bad. You can explain to them why it has to be that way. And if they don't understand it in the moment, you are leading them to a place that they can't lead themselves. But in the back end, whether they realize it or not, sometimes when you are the person who pulls through and you save the day, you have the penalty of leadership. So you are the one who saved the day. You had the money to pay for everything because you're the one who worked your ass off or whatever it is, and still nobody realizes it. So when you are the most responsible person, you become the money man, and then everybody expects you to pay for everything, and it's the penalty of leadership, right? It's the success tax. It's whatever. So number 3 is you stuck your head in the sand. I'm sorry, back to number 2. So you got put your foot down. Number 2 is put your foot down. You have to put your foot down with people and yourself. Number 3 is you stuck your head in the sand. What does that mean? Okay, you know the problem's there. You stick your head in the sand. Sticking your head in the sand is playing on YouTube. It's watching videos. It's laying on the couch. It's sleeping in. It's running your gas tank down all the way till you have like 1 mile. You ever seen that thing? I saw it on like Instagram or somewhere. Like, are you this type of person? You wait till your gas tank is on E. You're like, oh, I think I need some gas. Or are you the person that when your gas is like all the way down to only half a tank, you're like, oh shit, I need to fill up. Like, where are you? How proactive of a person are you? And I think that proactivity, at least for my life, comes from pain. I wish I was an even more proactive person than I am. So human beings will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. And when you've been dangled in, Satan's mouth or the alligator's mouth, and you felt that brutal fear, mortal reality of what's like when you don't face responsibilities, it's actually less painful to just work your ass off and save your money. Which leads me to number 4, is you took weekends off. Well, my father or my uncle or whoever it is who retired or somebody said, you got to take the weekend off, man. You work too hard. The week is for working, and the weekend is for relaxing. Well, maybe in your time, but I've already done the math, and I can see very clearly that I have to work weekends for the next 5 years, or I'm going to die. Are you going to give me your oxygen? I'm trying not to cuss here. Are you going to pay my bills, and you going to give me some of your oxygen? I didn't think so. So I'm working weekends. I'll take 1 weekend off a month. How about that? And then that's when we'll do this thing. And until you're willing to pay my bills, because I'm not at a level you're at yet, and pay attention to who tells you this stuff. If it's somebody who's completely irresponsible with their life, because it's funny that the guy that will tell you to relax and take it easy is the same guy who next week before he gets off the phone with you, he'll be like, oh, by the way, can I borrow $20? Yeah, exactly. Right? So number 5 is you didn't save any money. Sure, I'm good at my time. Saving money is a skill that I think it has to become like an emergency to you and an exciting thing at the same exact time. So you save money out of like fear and like you must do it. And then there's the healthy side of saving money, which is you do it out of enthusiasm. Like, wow, like I'm a responsible person. I save money. I know how to save money. And it's building towards a future. If you save money, you can invest in things and, do things. And if you don't know how to save it, it's a skill it's very deep and diverse. There's an amazing there's materials that you can get, audiobooks you can listen to. Like Mike Michalowicz has a book called Profit First. He has another book called The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, another one called The Pumpkin Plan. There's so many books about money and finance and how to save money and accounting and taxes and all that shit that you can learn. Because when you raise the necessity first of like, oh, this is extremely important. Like, I need to save money because shit goes like this, and you don't want your life to be like this. You want it to be like this. And because money is like oxygen, if I could save oxygen and there wasn't enough, I'd be finding a way to save that shit, right? So learn how to save money, right? I don't think that you should do this at all by any means, but I remember a time when I was just broke and I'd like wrote on a bunch of envelopes. I was like rent, gas, cable. I had like 12 envelopes, and some envelopes only had $2 in it. Some had 20, some had 80, right? And now that's in the bank. So you can like actually start an extra bank account. Like you have a business account, you have a savings account, you have a side checking account, you have your personal expenses account, then you have an emergency fund account. It's okay. Open up multiple bank accounts, and when the money comes in, you pay, I'm not trying to confuse you, but if you pay your payroll and then you set aside for taxes, and then you have a personal savings account, and then you save business stuff for taxes, and then for expenses, you can do that. If you don't have the wherewithal or the capacity, or if you don't have the self-discipline, like somebody who's an alcoholic, if you put a bottle of alcohol right there by them, tell them not to drink, and they're trying not to drink, I mean, how long is it going to take before they go, oh, and then you're going to, bash them for that? Doesn't make sense to me. Remove it. Out of sight, out of mind. 30% rule is 30% of all money that comes into your entire ecosystem gets socked away and saved. So one thing that I might not be bringing up right now could be the question that's just burning and pissing you off. If you are in the position where you don't have enough money saved up for the winter, and say, why don't you say the most obvious thing in the world, Keith? What is it? How the hell am I supposed to save money when I don't even make enough money to save any money? Right? I used to have that. That was like my burning thing. You hear all these people talking about all this shit, and I would get so angry, I'd want to scream, because I'd be like, how do you even save any money if you don't even have enough money to pay your bills, let alone save any fucking money? And then there's taxes, and then you start thinking about all that shit and how godly expensive insurance is, and then you just get deflated, and you can go into depression and become like not in a good place, right? So that brings me to the next thing, is you stuck your head in the sand. When you face the brutal reality of how hard like life is, the sooner you face that, you realize it's not as hard as it seems, right? So, I have to figure out how to make a lot more money so I can pay all my bills and all my stuff and enough to save money for the winter, as an example in this video. So it's like the chicken and the egg thing. It's like you're like, it's not fair. It could drive you insane, because if you're the type of person who's a workaholic, you're working, 50, 60 hours a week. This is like almost like some Dave Ramsey shit. I have Dave Ramsey's programs, and I haven't dove into them yet. So, but some people have told me that I sound like him sometimes like this, and I'm not comparing myself to him. The guy's incredible. but I think it's just the principle of the fact is that when you look at the brutal reality, oh, well, I guess I'm going to have to work 80 hours a week to make this happen. And then you go into a victim state and you say, well, I don't want to work 80 hours a week because I care about my health and my sleep and my family and all that's going to fall apart. Exactly. Yes. Yes. Well, there's another side to this, but I'm going to agitate this a little bit more. Yes. You have to go work I'm sorry. Wait, I just did the math again. 80 hours a week isn't enough. Oh, you're going to have to do 94 hours a week. Oh, whoa. I forgot. 96 hours a week. Yeah. So you're going to have to wake up at 5 a.m. and you're going to have to work till 1 a.m. 7 days a week, nonstop until you fucking die. Right? Like, now, that's what you have to do. So say goodbye to your wife, say goodbye to your kids, say goodbye to your family, say goodbye to your sleep, say goodbye to your health, and you're literally just going to work yourself to death because money is oxygen, right? And if you don't have any oxygen for you, you definitely don't have enough to give to anybody else. So the number one order priority, this is going to sound really, really bad. People are going to attack me for this. Because people who have their shit together or have some money in the bank say, first of all, I love God, I love Jesus. That's just my personal beliefs. And I have learned just my own journey that if you don't put God first, and then, your wife, and then, yourself and your business in the order of priority, you'll pay hell for it, right? And that seems impossible because you'll be like, okay, so I'm going to be broke and not like put God first or my wife first. So I can only speak from experience what I had to do. I had to put everything last and put figuring out how the hell to make enough, to get enough oxygen for myself first. And that's like, shit. How do you do that? Albert Einstein said, you can't solve a problem with the same level of thinking you were at when you created the problem. I call bullshit. I didn't create this problem, being born into like this monetary, commercialized society where you have to have money just to fucking breathe. Which leads me to rule number 6. Is you refuse to learn sales and marketing. You refuse to get educated. Knowledge is power. So whether you've got a job or whether you have a small business or whatever that is for you, I have walk up to a man who has headphones on his head while he's working. And he's going like this. And he's weed whipping or he's cutting the grass or he's doing the power wash or he's painting. It's better than listening to nothing unless you're in deep thought. I don't know. It's cool. Technology. I just got a new pair of Bluetooths in the mail because I lost mine. I love them. But, hey, buddy, what are you listening to? Like, I like Eminem, right? I used to listen to his music when I was younger or whatever. I don't know too much about what he's doing now. But anyways, I'm listening to Eminem's new album, dog. Oh, shit. Eminem is the shit. Eminem is he's a great rapper or whatever. So, but, like, is Eminem, like, teaching you how to, like, manage your finances? Or is, like any rapper or whatever, any musician, you're listening to music, you're listening to AC/DC. I like AC/DC. I like all that shit, right? And it's cool. It's motivating, dog. It's motivating. Okay. But is that motivation giving you the education to know how to do sales and marketing, how to make more money, how to get out of your shitty job and start your own business? Or if you have your own business, how do you get higher paying clients and get more of them? Are you listening to a podcast? What are you listening to? Because in 5 years from now, the people you associate yourself with and the books that you read, whether it be in paperback book or audiobook, is going to give you the education that is going to empower you with the knowledge that you can go out and apply and change your entire life around. So, this is going to be really, really hard. I don't want to learn this stuff. Well, I guess that you're just going to starve to death and you're just going to die and you're going to be broke every winter with no money, and then you're going to go into debt, and then you're just going to lose everything and end up just like, I don't know, living on welfare or living on someone's couch. And then, I don't know, that's scary as shit. I'm not judging anybody or anything, because there is one thing for sure, and I will, because I only got like a minute left here. You have to get resolution in your consciousness. I am no stranger to paranoia, to having just like some days you're off for days on end where you're just a mess. You can't think straight. You have anxiety. It feels like your skin is on fire. People around you are attacking you. You have family chaos and drama going on, and you're just caught in the swirl. When you're caught in the swirl, then, like I said, then somebody you love dies, then something happens. Now this is financially draining you. Then there's a pet issue. Then something, if you have kids, like it's non-fucking stop. And you're like, am I supposed to just cut all these people out and let them drown to death while I go make money? And then now you become that selfish bastard who just puts money first? Like, this is really complex. I used to talk with my buddy, Coach Rob, about this. I said, well, what happens when you get married and have kids? He goes, well, then it just becomes more and more complex. Complexity. It's easier to grow a healthy intimacy than it is to fix a broken one, right? So at the level you're at right now, you get your shit together where you're at right now. Get your shit together, because it's only going to fucking get harder. And the more you keep bucking the system, it's just the harder it's going to be, right? So feel blessed and gratitude for where you're at right now, and look at your past and let go of the shitty things that you went through or what people did to you or the mistakes that you made. Let that shit go now so you can clear up some breathing room in your life and be fond of your past, of the good times, and when you can get yourself into a place of gratitude and get excited and get fired up. So you know what? I leave version 1 of me behind. Ken Wilber, the author of Cosmic Consciousness. That's a totally different story, but he was like, this was Ken Wilber version 1, version 2, version 3. What version are you in right now? How do you upgrade your identity into a whole new, confident, empowered, a bold version of you who goes out and gets this shit done, so this never happens to you ever again, so you're not stuck being fucking broke in the winter? Like, come on, you're fucking better than that, dude. You are better than that. You deserve more than this. You are the shit. Look at everything you've gone through and everything you've overcome in your life already, and you're fucking broke in the winter. Like, you deserve better than that. This is a must for you. Why the fuck are you broke in the winter? It's your fault. Your fault. Your fault. Hit your chest like, boom. Say, it's my fucking fault, dude. So stand the fuck up and man the fuck up and go out and hustle. And you're going to have to face a lot of fears. Go look in the mirror and put fucking war paint on your face and resolve to doing whatever you have to do to become a warrior. So get some audiobooks, get a subscription to audible.com, and jam education down your throat. That's specific to where you're at, right? I went through a long period where I was just like drugging myself with as many audiobooks as I could. And at some point, maybe you have to get to the point where you're just like, you're going to vomit. You can't deal with this person, this situation, your own excuses anymore. And you just literally, blah, you vomited it out. You know when you're done with something by when you're repulsed by it. It's no longer going to happen for you or your life. And holding the other people that you love around you accountable, and having an accountability group of being around successful people, right? I've got a lot of my own bullshit, my own struggles, my own head trash that I talk about sometimes with you guys. And I'm like, I just really, really believe that if you're broke in the winter, it sucks. But it's nobody's fault but your own. So that's 6 reasons why. Put your foot down, decide in advance. Don't take weekends off if you can't afford to. Raise your prices and make more money. And that's a whole nother thing. I should make another video about that, because you can have all these excuses that come up. My buddy Rob told me something that I wrote down. Oh, it was good, bro. I put it on Facebook yesterday. Basically, he said if you have a paradigm or a belief that's not true, but you believe it's true, you believe something that's not true, it'll create a brick wall in your life, and you just can't get past that thing because you believe it to be true, and now you form a stable datum around something that's fiction. It's a fiction. If other people have figured it out, and people that aren't even as smart as you, then you can figure it out, and it sucks if you don't want to even do the thing, but sometimes you have to do shit you don't want to do. That's what it is of being a full-blown adult. That's what responsibility is. I'm not here to preach you anything. I really am speaking from my heart right now. Like I said, I've got a lot of my own bullshit to deal with, but I think that's really my position here on YouTube and on social media. I've fought back and forth with it many, many times. I love making entertaining videos when I have time and stuff, but I love talking real shit, dude. Yeah, dog. All right, fired up. Hit the subscribe button. Check out the links below. Check out my podcast. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below any tips you have for not being broke in the winter. This is Keith Kalfas with the Untrapped podcast, and peace out.